In this movie, we'll take a look at the if statement. So to start off, let's open up our actions panel. So we write if, a set of empty parentheses, and then a set of empty braces. And within this set of empty parentheses, we will write the condition. And then if this condition is true, then whatever is within this set of braces will be executed. To write a condition, we're going to need the less than sign, the greater than sign, less than or equal sign, greater than or equal sign, the equal operator, which is two equal signs next to each other, the logical AND, which is two ampersands next to each other, the logical OR, which is two vertical dashes next to each other, and then the logical NOT, which is an exclamation point. We'll go through each and every one of them one by one. Let's start by the less than sign. So write if 2 is less than 3, which is always true, then trace hello world. Control Enter, test our movie, and pretty much hello world is displayed. So what if the condition is not true? That is, if 2 is greater than 3, Control Enter, and then nothing is output. That's because 2 is less than 3, not equal to. So Flash ignores whatever is within this set of braces and then continues with the code normally. So let's say if I had another trace statement here, trace, let's say hello again. And then test our movie, we'll see that hello again is executed. That's because whatever code outside the if statement is not affected by if the condition is true or false. The greater than sign works exactly as the less than sign. So if I say if 4 is greater than 3, test our movie, we see that hello world, hello again. Both codes are executed. As for the greater than or equal sign, it checks if the number here is greater than or equal to the number there. So 4 is greater than or equal to 4, as we can see here. Similarly, the less than or equal sign works the same way. As for the equal sign, which is two equal next to each other, it tests if the first element is exactly equal to the second element. So we have that 4 is equal to 4, but 4 is not equal to 5. So hello world is not executed. The equal sign also works with letters, not necessarily numbers. So if I say if A is equal to A, we will get an error because I haven't defined a property A yet. But if I wanted it to be as text, then I would have to put it inside quotations. So if quotation A is equal to A, oops, sorry about that, is equal to A, we'll see that both statements are executed. However, uppercase A is not equal to lowercase a. That's because actionscript is case sensitive. Now, onto the logical AND and the logical OR. Those operators allow me to put several conditions in one if statement. Now the AND is two ampersands next to each other. We can find the ampersand sign by pressing Shift 7. And the OR is two vertical slashes next to each other. We can find it by pressing Shift and then the key above the Enter key. These operators allow me to put several conditions within one if statement. Now how do they work? The logical AND only works if all of its conditions are true. So if I had, for example, if 2 is greater than 3 and 1 is less than 2, let's say, this condition is true, but this one is not. So this condition in all will be considered as false. However, if I had the OR logical operator, so if 2 is greater than 3 or 1 is less than 2, as long as one of these conditions is true, then the whole statement is considered true. For example, let's test it. We see that both trace statements have been executed. If I had AND, on the other hand, we see that the hello world statement hasn't been executed. That is because one of the conditions is false. I can put as many conditions as I want. So let's say 2 is less than 3 and 1 is less than 2 and let's say 0 is equal to 0. It works just fine as long as all of those are true. Same thing with the OR statement. So if I had if 2 is less than 3 or 1 is less than 2 or 0 is equal to say 1, this one still executes because at least one of those conditions is true. I can also combine between the and or statements as long as I separate them using parentheses. So let's say if 2 is less than 3 and 1 is greater than 2, I put these guys within parentheses so that Flash knows what to execute first. So 2 is less than 3 and 1 is less than 2 or 0 is equal to 1. This condition is true since 2 is less than 3 and 1 is less than 2. But the 0 is not equal to 1. But we have an OR condition, at least one of its conditions is true. So this statement will now execute, as we see here. But if I happen to mix those up, put an OR here and an AND here, we'll see that the hello world statement won't be executed since I have one of these conditions is false, which is this one. Now we'll take a look at the logical NOT. So if 2 is not equal to 3, test our movie, we'll see that this statement executes since 2 is not equal to 3. But if we say like if 2 is not equal to 2, then the trace statement won't be executed since this condition is false. 2 is equal to 2. There is also an extension to the if statement, which is the else statement. So if this condition is true, then this will execute. But what if this one is false and I want then something to happen? There's something called the else statement, which is similar to the if statement. Else, then a set of empty braces. So I'll write trace. Let's say goodbye world. So if this condition is true, then this will execute. Else, if this condition is false, this will execute. So we will see that we have goodbye world output here. So this one is false, hence this one won't be executed, while this one will be. So if this condition is true, so if I had if 2 is equal to 2, then the else statement won't be executed since this one is true. There is also something called an else if statement. In this I can put yet another condition to be executed. So if this one is not true, then I will check the other condition. If this one is true, then this will be executed. So let's say if 2 is not equal to 2, trace this one, else if say 2 is equal to 2, then trace this statement. Then I'll test my movie, then pretty much goodbye world and hello again. I can even put another else statement here. So I can write else and then let's say trace none. Let's say. And I'll set this one to a false condition. So if 2 is not equal to 2, which is false, trace hello world. This one won't be executed. Else if 3 is equal to 2, which is also false, trace hello goodbye world. Both of these won't be executed. Else, that is, if this one is false and this one is false, then trace this one. Test my movie, and pretty much none, and hello again. The if statement could be very useful and used in a variety of ways, and we will notice that once we get into coding and creating our own game.